The grand hall of the Alliance Citadel stood in silence, filled with the tension of 1,000 species. Their best warriors, champions bred, trained, and enhanced through generations, stood before the trial scanner. It was a relic from an age before the Alliance itself, built by the lost architects, an ancient civilization whose machines could judge worth beyond mere strength. One by one, the champions approached. The scanner pulsed with soft silver light as it read their essence. Each one waited, confident, assured of their acceptance into the Genesis vanguard. The elite task force meant to guard the newborn frontier beyond the rift. And yet, for the 10th time that day, the same mechanical voice spoke. Candidate denied. Compatibility, 0. A murmur spread across the chamber. Denied. Again. The warrior, towering and proud, slammed a clawed hand against his chest and growled in disbelief. His people had conquered 6 star systems. They had evolved through centuries of battle. And yet, the machine had rejected him as if he were nothing. The arbiter of the Alliance, an old being wrapped in ceremonial armor, raised his hand. Next candidate. Another stepped forward. A sleek soldier from the ocean world of Thalassa. The scanner hummed, analyzed, and again pronounced its judgment. Candidate denied. Compatibility, 0. The hall filled with whispers. The pattern repeated. 20 denied, then 40, then 60. Every warrior who approached the ancient scanner met the same fate. Denied, denied, denied. The arbiter's calm voice wavered now. Is the relic malfunctioning? But the technologist, the one charged with maintaining the ancient systems, shook his head. The scanner is flawless. It operates on quantum resonance. It does not fail. It judges truth. The gathered species looked at each other uneasily. For centuries, the Alliance had awaited this trial, the day the Genesis vanguard would be chosen. The rift was opening again, a wound in reality that led to uncharted space and possibly to the beings who once erased the architects. The vanguard was to be the first to step through, to defend the known galaxy from whatever lay beyond. And yet, not one of the champions standing before them was deemed worthy. Hours passed. Dozens more tested their fate. All failed. The hall that once rang with ambition now simmered with despair. Then from the far back of the assembly, a lone figure stepped forward. The movement drew attention because of its simplicity. No gleaming armor, no banners of species or empire, no genetic enhancements. Just a person in a simple pressure suit, walking calmly while others stared. A murmur spread through the hall. Is that a human? Humans were a recent addition to the Alliance, a minor species from a single blue world at the edge of mapped space. Known for stubbornness, unpredictability, and a defiance that often bordered on recklessness. They were not the most powerful, not the most advanced, not even the oldest. But their reputation for surviving the impossible had made them the subject of whispers. The arbiter frowned slightly. The Genesis vanguard is not a place for untested species, but the human didn't stop. You said anyone may step forward if they believe themselves worthy. The arbiter hesitated. Yes, the rules permit it. Then I'll take the test. The hall laughed softly. Dozens of warriors, each stronger, faster, and more advanced, had been rejected. What could a fragile being of flesh and bone possibly achieve? Still, the arbiter gestured. Proceed. The human stepped before the scanner. The ancient device stirred, its silver light deepening to a radiant white. The hum changed. Louder. Sharper. The technicians exchanged alarmed glances as the scanner began to vibrate. System fluctuation, one of them said quickly. Energy readings off the scale. The arbiter leaned forward. Identify. The scanner's light enveloped the human. Streams of data flooded the surrounding displays. Symbols of the architects, unreadable for millennia, began to rearrange into coherent patterns. The mechanical voice spoke at last. Candidate detected. Species. Homo sapiens. The hall went silent. The light grew brighter. The scanner's voice deepened, now carrying something almost reverent. Designation recognized. Prototype Genesis. Gasps echoed through the vast chamber. What did it say? The technologist's voice trembled as he interpreted the translated symbols. It said, Prototype, Genesis. That title belongs to the first design of the architects, the being meant to inherit creation itself. The arbiter's eyes widened. You're saying the architects modeled their first design after this
species?
Yes, the human genome aligns with the architect baseline. It's not a coincidence. It's a blueprint. The human stood in the center, the scanner still surrounding them in white light. For a moment, all of creation seemed to hold its breath. The machine spoke again. Compatibility. 100%. The silence shattered into uproar. Warriors shouted protests. Scientists scrambled for explanations. But the scanner's glow intensified and then projected something no one had seen before. A memory. A vision filled the air. The architects themselves appeared, towering beings of light and thought. They stood before an image of Earth studying its newborn life. Their voices echoed softly in the minds of all present. The spark we could not sustain they will carry. The form we could not endure they will bear. The legacy of creation belongs to those who can rise from dust and reach for the stars without forgetting where they began. The vision faded. Every warrior stared at the human now in silence. Not as an intruder, not as an outsider, but as something terrifyingly ancient. The arbiter rose from his seat slowly. Then it is decided. The Genesis Vanguard will have its leader. The human met the gaze of the assembled council. I didn't come here to lead, they said quietly. I came to help. But if that's what it takes to face what's beyond the rift, I'll go first, and so the preparations began. The Genesis Vanguard, once meant to be an alliance of the galaxy's strongest, now formed under a single human's command. The others who had been denied were re-evaluated. The scanner still refused them all. Yet when tested again under the human's presence, the light wavered, as though reconsidering. Partial compatibility detected, the machine finally said. The technologist stared in awe. Their presence alters the resonance field. It seems the system recognizes them as a stabilizing core. The others can align through them. The arbiter looked upon the human. Then perhaps that is the design of the architects. Not supremacy, harmony. The human simply nodded. Then we'll need everyone. Weeks passed. The Vanguard trained under the human's guidance. What the others had once called primitive methods, discipline, endurance, teamwork, proved strangely effective. While other species relied on technology and instinct, humans relied on will, that invisible force that refused to break even when everything else did. Soon the day came to cross the rift. The rift pulsed in space like a wound in the fabric of stars. Darkness swirled within, filled with unknown energies that had once destroyed entire fleets. The architects had built the Genesis program to create beings capable of withstanding it, but they had vanished before completing the task. Now, the humans stood at the edge of that swirling abyss, surrounded by the best the galaxy could offer. Fleet ready, said the arbiter's voice over comms. Are you prepared, Genesis? The human stared into the rift, feeling its pull. Ready. With that single word, the ships moved forward. Crossing the rift was not a flight, it was a rebirth. Reality twisted, time bled into itself, and the stars vanished. Only the human remained conscious, their mind resonating with the strange pulse of the energy field. The scanner's voice echoed faintly through the ship. Prototype, synchronization complete. Energy patterns aligned, commencing reconstruction protocol. And suddenly the darkness bloomed into light. They emerged into another galaxy, or perhaps another universe entirely. Before them floated colossal structures of the architects, still operational, surrounded by mechanical guardians unlike anything seen before. The machines reacted instantly, awakening from eons of dormancy. Weapons powered up. The Vanguard prepared for battle, but the human raised a hand. Hold! The Guardians halted mid-attack. Their scanners focused on the human, reading their presence. The central construct, the size of a moon, transmitted a signal. Designation confirmed. Prototype Genesis has returned. The Alliance fleets received the message in every language at once. The human ship moved closer. The machines stood down, forming a path. Within the largest structure, a holographic figure appeared. A projection of an architect, faint but recognizable. You carry the legacy we could not. The experiment we began is complete. Through your species, creation found its will to endure. The human spoke softly. You left us alone for millions of years. Because you were not meant to be guided. You were meant to rise, and now you return not as our creations but as our successors. The Vanguard listened in stunned silence. The holographic figure turned its gaze to the others. The architects built the scanner not to judge power but potential. Only those who embody the capacity to grow, adapt, and unite are worthy of the Genesis signal. The others failed not because they were weak, but because they had forgotten how to change. The human looked back at their crew. Then let's not repeat their mistake. The architect projection bowed its head. Then you shall have the knowledge we preserved. Use it well, for the rift is not merely a door, it is a warning. Beyond it lies what unmade us. And with that, the projection faded, leaving behind vast data archives and dormant technology. Months turned into you.